We are now joined by a Republican candidate for governor, the leading candidate based on the poll I've recently seen. Please welcome to the program, Steve Hilton.
Fantastic to be with you, Larry. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Stephen, did I see a poll showing that you're the front runner?
Yes. Yes, I should quit while I'm ahead, because I really am ahead. I'm leading the field. How about that? Of all the actual declared candidates, I came out on top, 1% ahead of the nearest Democrat challenger, Katie Porter. But the two of us were way ahead of everybody else, way ahead of all the other Democrats and the other Republican, all in low single digits. So, you know, I'll take it.
Steve, let's talk about the state of California. Highest unemployment in the nation, highest gas prices in the nation, highest income tax in the nation, biggest gap between the rich and the poor in the nation, most homeless people in the nation, largest number of illegal aliens in the nation. What am I leaving out?
Well, we do the poverty rate? Did we do the worst business climate in the country? Yeah. Did we do the highest housing costs, lowest home ownership? There's actually a very long list. Sometimes I make that point when I'm on the road. I said, look, we're basically here in California today after 15 years of one-party rule by these Democrat far-left lunatics. We are top of every list you want to be the bottom of, and bottom of every list you want to be the top of. So it's a complete disaster on every front.
And, of course, people are voting with their feet. I think I recently read, Steve, that the exodus is slowing down a bit, but in the last 3-4 years, we've lost probably about 1 million Californians to other states like Texas, Arizona, Tennessee, Florida.
Yeah. And it's also businesses. I mean, that goes together with the highest unemployment rate. You're seeing businesses leave the state. We just saw In-N-Out, for example, iconic California company. Lindsay Snyder, the owner of the company, CEO, that I met with her and her executive team just the other week at their headquarters in Baldwin Park. They explained to me that they just can't do it anymore. And just simple things like building a new facility for their company in California, it takes 7 years to do what they can do in Tennessee in about 1.5 years. And the costs are escalating. We've got the minimum wage increase for fast food workers and so on. We just saw 18,000 job losses directly as a result of that. They're making it impossible for anyone to do anything in California. But I guess the good news is that we have a majority for change. Another poll just the other week showed that 60% of Californians think the state's going in the wrong direction. And I think next year is our best shot for a very long time to actually bring about the change that we need, which is just common sense. It's just basic things. Get rid of these ridiculous regulations, the climate extremism that's given us the highest gas prices in the country. I've got a plan for $3 gas by getting rid of all of that. Just back to simple, practical things, lower taxes, less regulation, let people get on with it. And I think that then we can see a real renaissance of the Golden State. As President Trump says, no golden age without the Golden State. That's what we need to make happen here in California.
Steve, let's talk about homelessness. Gavin Newsom recently said that cities and municipalities that don't take care of their homeless problem are going to have funds withheld. This is the same guy who I think during 2021 was asking people to come to California, and it doesn't matter if you're homeless, please come to California and live the California dream. He appears to have done a 180. What's the Steve Hilton plan to end homelessness in California?
Well, honestly, Larry, it's going to be very similar to the plan you laid out, because you've trodden this path before me, and it's, again, common sense. But let's go through it. Number one, enforce the law. These homeless encampments are illegal. They've always been illegal. We've got to get back to actually enforcing the law in California, and that means not allowing people to sleep in public and block the sidewalk and get in the way of kids on the way to school. All of that is illegal. So number one, enforce the law. And if local law enforcement won't do it because of mayors or police chiefs that are too uninterested in actually cleaning things up, if they won't do it, then as governor, I will make sure we do it from the state level down. But number two, you've actually got to get people into the treatment they need, because we know that over 80% of the people who are homeless have either a mental health problem or a drug addiction problem or both. And so we've got to get people into treatment. Right now, what they're doing, this is why they spend so much money and the homeless problem just gets worse. They're just giving these people who need treatment and help, very detailed treatment to get off drugs, to solve their mental health problems. They're just putting them in apartment buildings with no services attached to them, no treatment requirement at all. In fact, it's against the law. They passed a law in 2016 called Housing First, which means that any organization receiving state money for homelessness cannot require, as a condition of helping that person, to get sober.
1 minute
That's
left.
Hopeless.
1 minute left in the segment,
so
Steve. 1 minute left in the segment.
And the final point, Larry, is that we've got to get more mental health treatment. The voters voted for that last year with Prop 36. Gavin Newsom's refusing to fund it. So the problem's not going to be solved unless you get people the treatment that they need.
My guest is Steve Hilton. He is running for governor of California. Steve, we come back. We're going to talk about how much money you've raised, how much money you think it'll take. And I want to give your assessment of Gavin Newsom's prospects to be the Democrat nominee in 2028. Larry Elder, my guest, is Steve Hilton, who's running for governor of California as a Republican. Steve, as you know, there hasn't been a Republican elected statewide in California in 20 years. Do you have enough money to mount a serious challenge? My feeling is it'll take you at least $100 million to do so.
Yeah, that is the number. That's exactly the number that we're aiming for. A lot of that, of course, will come after I'm in the final, the top two system we have here in California. The primary is in next June, and then there'll be two candidates facing off. Especially, by the way, if it's Kamala Harris that they put in there, I think we're going to succeed in getting financial support from across the country to beat her again. But I think that we will get there, because I'm seeing from the conversations I'm having that there's the people who are left, who haven't moved to other states, who are here fighting, they really mean it, business leaders and others. And already I'm seeing a lot of really good support financially. We're just putting together the final number for our first fundraising period, because we had a bunch of events and we're still getting checks coming in from those. And so we're going to have a good number to report. And I think that the support is there once people see that this is possible. I've always said, Larry, and you know this better than anyone, it's not easy. This is not going to be a cakewalk. Just because people are fed up with the way things are in California, and just because the record is such a disaster, doesn't mean they're automatically going to turn to Republicans. If they were, then you'd be the governor today. And so many of us wish that you were. But I think the support is there, because you just can't push people so far. It's going to be hard work, but I think we can do it.
If people want to help, they want to donate, they want to contribute, give me your website.
SteveHiltonForGovernor.com, FOR. SteveHiltonForGovernor.com. We're having a little bit of a problem with Google, so people are finding it hard to search. Surprise, surprise. You've got to type it in exactly. SteveHiltonForGovernor.com.
SteveHiltonForGovernor.com. Steve, what about President Trump? Has he reached out? Has he weighed in? Have you reached out to him?
Yeah, I know the president. We talk from time to time. I'm keeping him updated on the race. He's got a lot of other things he's focusing on right now. But as I've said before, I'd be honored to have his support. He's the president, leader of the party, phenomenal person in terms of the changes he's brought about in the political landscape that I think hold the key to victory here in California, that multiracial working class coalition, which has been the real transformation in politics in the Trump era. We need to make that happen here in California. So I think that his involvement in that would be incredibly helpful.
Steve, I think I told you one of the many tactical mistakes I made was not accepting Donald Trump's support when he reached out. I told him and his people that I wanted to make this race California-centric, and the media is going to turn this into a referendum on Republicans. And every single attack ad that I saw had a picture of Donald Trump and Larry Elder. I had only taken one in my life to that point, but they showed it over and over and over again, and they said, and I'm quoting, "Stop the Republican takeover." So they did it anyway. I might as well have gotten his support. It certainly wouldn't have hurt. It probably would have helped.
Exactly. And look, the thing about next year's election, it's a midterm election, and you typically have a lower turnout than in a presidential year, a lot lower. And there's a simple calculation that you can just look at the numbers. If everybody who voted in California for President Trump last year votes for me next year, I'll win the election. It's about the turnout. And if we can get that Trump voter base enthused about trying to make a change here in California next year, that's going to help us win. Look, I know that's not easy. That's what everyone says. You know, we've got to get a high turnout. But remember, we're going to have probably, if all goes well, voter ID on the ballot next year. Ballot initiative is in circulation on voter ID. That's something that really fires up the Republican base. And so we're trying to focus on things that will get the turnout up, a good ground game. That's why it's so important that Charlie Kirk is supporting me. Turning Point did a great job for the president with ground game this time around, particularly in Arizona and Pennsylvania. Scott Pressler's going to be getting involved. I had a good conversation with him when I met him in San Diego a few weeks ago. So we're really putting everything into that idea of mobilizing the core Trump support, and then reaching out to other groups, Latinos, of course. There's a whole category of Democrats who are just fed up with the way things are going and agree that it's not healthy to have one-party rule. You know, even if you put me in the governor's mansion, you're still going to have Democrat control of the state legislature.
Right.
They're still going to run the big cities and the counties. Let's have a bit of balance. That's a message I've seen work with Democrats and independents as well.
Steve, we have about 30 seconds left. Again, SteveHiltonForGovernor.com.
Yes.
Okay. SteveHiltonForGovernor.com. What about the state GOP and the federal GOP? Is anybody helping you?
Well, the state GOP, you know, they've done some good work in terms of voter registration. That will continue. Good relationships there. And I think they're going to stay out of any kind of endorsement situation till after the primary is over, and that makes sense. And similarly with the national GOP. But the point I'm making to the national GOP is if we can win in California in 2026, that helps the whole country, in particular with redistricting. Because if we can get a foothold in California, we can try and get the gerrymandering undone.
Steve Hilton.
If we get fair districts in California, there's an extra 12 House seats for Republicans.
Steve Hilton for Governor.com. Steve, good luck. I'm a fan. Thanks for watching these clips from The Larry Elder Show. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss a moment.